Good?
Yeah, I couldn't see the live button. The on-air. Guys, I'm your host with the most, Jack Campisi. I got Jason Brant here, also your host.
The host with the most.
That's right.
All right.
I'm really more of a hostess cake, but, cream filling. No Hunter Shea this week, so hallelujah.
Ding the best.
Ding
so happy.
which is dumb. So
is he filming his documentary right now?
Yes, he's out in Times Square right now, retracing his steps from his youth.
He's putting in applications at all the best spots.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to our last episode. What the heck were we talking about?
He's interning at a peep show, is what we're assuming now.
Anyway, this week's featured movie is called Tragedy Girls. It's a new release. You can see it on VOD. We'll talk about it in the second half of the show, where we'll do a non-spoiler, and then we'll give you a warning when there's going to be spoilers coming. And this movie, we definitely want to talk in depth about. So looking forward to that. In the meantime, we've got a lot. We got to tap dance a little bit here because Hunter's not here to take us off on stupid tangents about Times Square.
About his goals in life.
Yeah. So you ready for some news?
Let's do it, baby.
All right. First of all, Scoop Dunnings sent us a story, which, Scoop, I got to tell you, this is not really that big of news. This has to do with It casting. We had talked a few weeks ago about Jessica Chastain and showed some interest. Well, it looks like that's getting real. So she's in serious talks to be in the second It movie. So no surprise there. She was in that movie Mama with the guy who made It. So seems like perfect casting and a good A-lister to give that movie some.
Yeah, she's got that look. That sounds perfect to me. And she's a good actress. So
yeah. By the way, are there any drinking game rules this week?
I'm looking, but I haven't seen them yet. I got into the chat late, so I don't know if I'm missing something or not. But if not, Sheridan, you're fired.
All right. Well, if you see them, shoot up a flare. If not, just drink every 5 minutes, or every 3 minutes, or every minute. I don't care.
Just drink if you're happy Hunter's not here.
Yeah. If you're happy and you know it, drink a drink. Let's see. So Jessica Chastain for It. Now, this is the biggest news I have. I'm going to lead with it. What is the greatest shark franchise of all time? Of course, it's Sharknado. Sure. I don't have a title, and I don't have a catchy catchphrase or tagline yet. However, Sharknado 6 has a release date. It's going to premiere on July 25th of this year.
Oh, yay! I haven't watched the last four, so
the great news is there was some time travel elements at the end of the last one.
What? Really?
Where Ian Ziering's son traveled into the future and came back and was an adult, and I think it was a celebrity, of course. And this movie, here's the synopsis. Let me just read it. Finn unlocks the time-traveling power of the Sharknadoes in order to save the world and resurrect his family. In his quest, Finn fights Nazis, dinosaurs, knights, and even takes a ride on Noah's Ark. This time, it's not how to start to shop Sharknadoes. It's when.
Wow.
And somewhere in the article, the guy says, when did this franchise jump the shark?
That's what I was just going to ask. At what point does the shark movie jump the shark? I don't know. Does it? They've been ridiculous from the start.
I think it's when Ian Ziering leaves or Tara Reid's not in them anymore.
Yeah, how will they afford them?
I don't know. I think the Sharknado movies are more about the commercials and the name than the actual movie. I think people are more into the thought of Sharknado rather than the actual Sharknado.
That actually sounds fair because I don't know. I liked the first one, but I've been watching these Sci-Fi Channel movies forever, and I just didn't think it was all that special. I thought it was just kind of the name stuck with people for some reason.
You know, when you think back about the great classics, I think we're going to look back at this time and say Casablanca, Forrest Gump, Sharknado. These were the movies that really changed the game.
I think you summed it up. Nailed it right on the head.
Gone with the Wind.
Mother.
Oh, so a guy I work with saw Mother.
Yeah.
He also knows Hunter Shea. He texts me and just like, Hunter Shea is an idiot.
Well, you know, the more you tell him you don't like that movie, the more he's gonna love it.
Right. Well, our mutual friend was in my camp on Mother, and so I know that'll just fuel Hunter more. But F him. All right. This is also kind of not huge news, but I thought I'd mention it. Hunter and I were talking the other day about 28 weeks later and 28 days later and 28 weeks later. And then I saw a little blurb, which I'd seen we've always been waiting for 28 months later to finally come out, because the end of the last one, they show Paris being overwhelmed. Right. Unfortunately, Alex Garland, who he wrote 28 Days Later and directed the 28 Weeks, I think, they asked him about it lately, and he basically said, doesn't look like a third one's ever going to happen. So,
oh man, I was always hoping for 28 months later, but oh well.
Yeah, I like that franchise. I think it's because some people will argue with it. It's not a zombie movie, but I think it's a sub section of the zombie movie, and it brings something fresh and different to it. And those raging people are just fun to watch and so frantic that it wouldn't surprise me if in a few years they're gonna the rights for that will become available, and you'll get like a cheap knockoff of it. But I'd love to see the guys who did the first two take a crack at this. So that kind of sucks.
So you liked the second one better than the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Is that because it was so much more violent?
I liked the first one a lot up until the third act, when they go to the compound with the soldiers. And then that part kind of loses it for me. So I really like the whole going through London. I love the part where the father gets the blood in his eye. That's one of the great scenes I think ever in horror movies. But the second one with Jeremy Renner and what's her name? Rose. I forget her last name. She's in everything. It was kind of like a horror action movie. I thought that start to finish, I just really enjoyed it. I thought Jeremy Renner was awesome in it. And
the old thumbs in the eyes scene in that movie, always like, oh God.
And the scene at the beginning when the husband like looks up at his wife in the window and then runs away.
Oh, I mean, I haven't watched that movie in a long time. That was good stuff.
That's good. Maybe we'll do that as a focus one, a pick one day.
Yeah.
The other thing is Imogen, I think her name is Imogen Poots, who was in she was the blonde in the Fright Night remake.
Okay.
This was one of her first movies.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, it doesn't look like 28 months later is going to happen, which kind of sucks.
Hey, I'm going to jump in here because I think the spam filter on YouTube was cutting out his rules. So I've got them now.
Oh, okay.
Took me a little bit to figure that out, but your words are kill, black, and chastain. So yeah, already hitting that. And mine are small, girls, and media. And the bonus words are hunter, likes, and social. So everybody's shit-faced already.
Well, just with the word being hunter, forget about it. I mean, if hunter and if the words like son of a bitch and idiot and tool and all the other words I could ascribe to him. This is also when he listens back to this, he doesn't feel left out.
That's exactly why we do it. We're trying to make him feel better.
You piece of crap. Write better books. I hope he's sleeping when he listens to this and it's subliminal. Get better at writing.
If he is, he's just going to drive his freaking car off a bridge on the way to work.
All right, the last piece of news is the best piece of news. Have you heard about Death House? It's the movie that has been described as the Expendables of horror.
Yeah, hasn't that been in production forever? I feel like it's been done for a long time.
I feel like I kept hearing about it, and then it's kind of like you never really see it come out, though. I saw an article that says the release date will be on VOD, Redbox, and Netflix April 20th, which is 420. Blaze it. So Death House will hold a red carpet event on February 22nd, which is like in 2 days. And then that's in LA. Friday, February 23rd in New York. It may have some other releases around the country. So it sounds like it's going to have like a small theater event. So I'd keep your eye on your local art house theater because this sounds like a pretty artsy movie.
Anything starring Kane Hodder is high art.
I don't see Robert Englund on this cast, but here's dubbed The Expendables of Horror. The film boasts an ensemble of legendary genre names such as Dee Wallace, Barbara Crampton, Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, Bill Moseley, Michael Berryman, Debbie Rochon, Sid Haig, Bill Oberst, I don't know, and many others. Two federal agents fight their way through 9 levels of hell inside a secret prison known as the Death House. A facility-wide prison break turns their flight into a tour of horrors as they push toward the ultimate evil housed in the lowest depths of the earth.
Okay.
So it's basically Batman Arkham Asylum with horror people.
I mean, it feels like to me the story is completely secondary in this movie.
Yeah.
They got all these people. If they nail the effects and put some cool stuff in it, everybody's going to be happy.
Good to see Kane Hodder back in the captain's chair.
Hell yeah.
Tony Todd, he could do anything. This feels like a Final Guys featured movie, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. It feels like it's been years that I've been hearing about this.
Someday we're going to have to like live cast, like where we watch and like film ourselves talking or something. You're the tech guy. You can figure it out, but that maybe this is the one.
You know, I did want to mention, since I'm apparently the tech guy, I looked at YouTube Sunday morning and I saw a test post on the Monster Men page that was just Hunter staring at his screen like a slack-mouthed idiot for like 5 minutes. And then who was it? From Horror Addicts, Gory?
Yeah.
Joined. And then he didn't stop the broadcast, which I think is what he wanted. It looked like he closed the window, which keeps the broadcast going. So he left his own test broadcast. And I was just dying watching this.
Well, we were part of a horror YouTuber marathon. And we screwed it up pretty bad. We were supposed to do an hour, and we were a half hour late getting it up and running. Hunter was more schooled on Google Hangouts than I was, so he did a test with Gory. And the next morning when I logged in, I found that. I was like, what the hell is this? So I went in and made it private. And then he when we connected, he's like, oh yeah, I saw that. I just deleted it. Like he had no idea it was there.
This is the best.
But then again, we told everybody, be there at noon. And then we went in and he had like the event all set up, and then the thing just wouldn't let us go live. And then finally I was able to figure out some way to do a new event. And we were ready to just quit. And like at the last second I go, well, let me just push this button. And we went live, and God bless him, the first person that popped up in the chat was Spencer. And we're like, yes, our man is there. At least there's somebody out there. So Scoop, thank you.
I just want to throw that out there. I thought that was hilarious. So
the show went pretty good for a half hour. Unfortunately, we broke the marathon for a half hour, but we got it back up and running.
Very nice.
All right, so that is everything I've got for news. So with that, why don't you take over and let's go to what did we watch this week?
All righty. I actually had a little bit of a slower week. I watched 2 non-horror movies. So, I had to change it up a little bit because I'm going to go into the first movie that almost broke me this week. I found it on Shudder, The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Lee. Have you heard of this?
No.
I've been seeing it on either Shudder or Prime or something for a while because it had a pretty cool cover with a statue of an angel or something doing the sign. I was like, all right, we'll check it out because it says it's about a cult. So this guy inherited a house from his mother, and he thinks she was part of a cult. And I love cult movies. If it's a good one, I'm in. I love that stuff. Don't watch this. It was 82 minutes, and it was probably 42 minutes too long. There's a lot of slowly walking through the house, going up the stairs and going down the stairs. And he makes a call at one point and talks to someone on the phone. And the guy's talking like a robot. And I'm not sure, is this on purpose? Is this, I didn't know what was going on, but there was a lot of time padding. And the ending was very unsatisfactory. I don't like trashing stuff on here, but I was not pleased by the end of this. So that then pushed me to watch Jungle on, I think it was Amazon Prime. That's the one starring Harry Potter. Have you seen this one? Just came out.
No, Jungle?
Jungle, yeah.
Not Swiss Army Man.
No, which I saw that. That was a weird movie.
I never saw that.
It's really bizarre. It stars Daniel Radcliffe, and it's based on the true story of an Israeli man whose name I cannot remember, who basically goes into the jungle looking for a lost tribe with some other people, and things go very poorly, and he gets stranded out there for something like 3 weeks, and it's kind of his harrowing adventure dealing with this stuff. And I looked it up, and it was pretty accurate to what happened to this guy. It's not a horror movie, but I did want to mention it for anybody who struggles with scenes of drowning or being bitten by bugs or things like that. This movie was super intense in that way for my wife, to the point where she was starting to get nauseous watching some of the scenes in this. So while not horror, it can definitely give you some horror vibes if that kind of thing bothers you.
Listen, we're not just horror. We're anything that our umbrella goes over. So,
well, this is definitely worth a watch if you have Prime. So it's free. Can't beat that. Then I went back and watched a movie that I wasn't sure if I'd seen it before. The Gate, the 1987
oh yeah,
classic. I swore I'd seen it, and then when I started it, I'm like, no, I don't think I've seen this movie. It stars Stephen Dorff, very young Stephen Dorff. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this. All right, this is great. I love finding these old 80s films. Start watching it. I'm like, no, I have seen this. And then 10 minutes later, nope, definitely haven't seen this. It turned out I had. When it got to the end, I finally remembered it. But this is a cool little film on Shudder. I think that was where it was, Shudder. And it's basically some kids' parents leave, and they find a gate to hell or whatever in their backyard under a tree that was removed. And these little claymation stop-motion demons come out and start attacking the kids, and things start going crazy. And the special effects, for the most part, in this are outstanding. I couldn't believe it. Normally, when you see stop motion, you know, it's fun, it's charming, but it's not all that great anymore. 9 out of 10 shots with it really worked well in this movie. It was super cool. Have you seen it?
I saw it like the year it came out, and I have not seen it since. So it's one of the, I would have the same thing. I'd be like, did I ever actually see this movie? But I totally remember the kids in the backyard and all that. And Stephen Dorff, I never would have remembered that. So
he was very young in this. He was the little kid who was the star of it. So
I have seen that thumbnail. Was that on Shudder?
Yes.
So that's one of those ones I thought about. Oh, someday I should go and rewatch that. That feels like one that was right in that sort of time of the Ghoulies and other stuff like that.
And I feel like it definitely got lost in that, at least to be a really huge movie like those others were. But quality-wise, it's really good. It's a fun movie. There's one scene in it that really doesn't fit. It's super disturbing and gory. Gory, kind of. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it just totally took me by surprise right in the middle of the movie. And then the rest of it was a fun kids movie with some demon stuff and shooting rockets. And so anybody looking for an old classic, go check out The Gate on Shudder. Finally, I read a book this week. It's amazing. It was Grave Robbers Wanted, No Experience Necessary by Jeff Strand. Jeff Strand is an author I've read a lot of. I shouldn't say a lot of, 4 or 5 books. He's fantastic. If you've never read him, he's absolutely hilarious. He has the perfect blend of humor and horror. His characters are all smartasses who get caught up in these terrible situations. If that sounds familiar to anyone, because it's pretty much my style, and it's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I think it's one of his early books. It read like it was released, I don't know, maybe around 2000, even late 90s, because he's talking about VHS tapes. Nobody has cell phones. So it was a great read. It's only $3 on Amazon, and I absolutely recommend this. I loved it. So Jeff Strand, Grave Robbers Wanted, no experience necessary.
Great title of a book.
It is. It is. It's fantastic because a guy gets hired to dig up a woman's husband for $20,000. And when he agrees to do this, shit gets absolutely out of control. And from then on, the book is just crazy town. So
I don't know about you. Whenever there's like a grave digging scene in a movie, first of all, they always dig this perfectly rectangle hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done my share of digging, and I can't tell you how long I would think it would take to dig 6 feet down and a coffin shaped. Like, people do it usually in one night and I'm like, first of all, I'd be drenched with sweat, dehydrated, and have blisters all over my hands within the first 45 minutes of doing this.
Yeah, I'd be sweating out all my whiskey 1 foot down.
Yeah, then I'd have a heart attack, and they would just bury me in the 6-inch hole that I had dug.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, great book, and that's all I did this week.
Excellent. Well, you're not the only one who didn't watch a ton of horror, because as I was surfing sort of the horror movies and things I had in queue and everything, nothing was really lighting my candle. And I had a few movies that I sort of other fun related kind of genre stuff that people would be interested in that I watched instead. 2 of them involving Batman. So I'm going to start with those. First of all, I've had the Lego Batman movie on DVR for months. And that was one of those ones that I was like flicking through, like, oh, should I pay $3 or $4 and watch this that I don't really want to watch? Or do I want to watch this movie from 1972 that looks like crap? I was like, and I'm like, wait a minute. I've got Lego Batman here. I've been waiting, and everybody says it's so great. So I'm watching this. It's a lot of fun. If you love Batman, this is right up your alley, because there's references to every single Batman there's ever been. Will Arnett is awesome. There's an all-star cast with voices, and these Lego movies are done really well. If you have kids, they'll want to watch it 4 million times. But for me, as a growing, Adam West was my Batman. I've been a huge Batman freak ever since. And there were just so many clever little insider things that, as a lifelong Batman person, I appreciated. And then the lay person, casual, is just going to love this movie. Zach Galifianakis is the Joker. And just a well-done movie. On par with the Lego movie. Not something that I'd ever like buy and have on Blu-ray or something like that, but definitely in the Batman. If you're a Batman fan, this is definitely you should take the time and watch it. Did you see it?
I've never seen any of those Lego movies. No, it's not that I dislike animation. It's just not something I seek out. I don't have kids, whatever. So.
One of the great things they do in this is, in The Dark Knight, there's a scene where Heath Ledger, like, kill you. I don't want to kill you. No, you complete me. Well, in this, Lego Batman watches Jerry Maguire, and they show that line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, so
that is clever.
If you're paying attention, this is a total callback to The Dark Knight. It also plays heavily into the plot of the movie. But I'm like, they drew this right out of the classic Heath Ledger, Christian Bale scene in the jail. So. And they've been showing The Dark Knight like crazy. So every night, like, if I'm flicking around, I'm like, I got 15 minutes to watch it. I'll watch the jailbreak scene again, and then go on to what I was going to watch. So the other Batman movie I watched is the last Adam West animated movie that he made with Burt Ward and Julie Newmar. It's Batman versus Two-Face. And they had completed this animated film shortly before Adam West passed away. And this, when they teased this movie was coming out, it was like a dream come true, because William Shatner plays Two-Face.
Oh, that's great.
And it's Two-Face as done as if he was in the 66 TV series.
Really?
Yeah, so, and which I guess originally there was a plan for Two-Face to be in the 66 show, but they never got around to it. So Shatner's awesome. Adam West is awesome. Burt Ward, Julie Newmar. They've got Alfred and Aunt Harriet, and then all the villains make appearances. King Tut is in it. So if you're, yeah, if you're a 66 Batman fan, Harley Quinn is actually in it too. It's perfect because they do things that you couldn't do in a real life shoot because it's animation, so they really can go overboard with it, but have a lot of fun. So again, it's one of those things. I'm glad I didn't buy the Blu-ray of this. I don't need to watch it a million times, but a great rental. And if you love the 66 Batman, you're not complete until you watch this movie. So it's a lot of fun, and Shatner's awesome in it as well.
When did this come out?
This came out like last year or at the end of the year, so not even a year ago. So there's 2 animated movies now. There's The Return of the Cape Crusaders that everybody they got the animated the 66 cast back, did an animated movie, and it was awesome. And then they did another one, and luckily they finished it, before Adam West passed away, so they could not have to worry about how we're going to finish this or anything.
Yeah, that's great.
And you got to watch the end credits because all the characters dance during the end credits. So
okay,
it's so much fun.
What was the name of it again?
Batman versus Two-Face.
Okay, well that's easy to remember.
It's very easy. If you look up like on my Amazon Prime box, whatever, if you look up like Gotham by Gaslight or any one of the animated movies on the like thumbnails for what else you should watch, it'll pop up on one of those.
Okay.
I also saw Black Panther in the theater. And I don't know whether we're going to do a whole episode on this or if we're never going to talk about it again. So I'll do my quick review here. And if we decide to do a spoiler episode, I know Hunter hasn't seen it and probably won't. And you haven't seen it yet.
Your opinion on it's basically going to sway me whether I should go see this or not.
So there are people out there saying that this is the greatest movie ever. And a woman, as we were walking out of the theater, said that's the best movie I've ever seen. And it's getting incredible reviews in this. I thought it was a good movie. I put it in the middle of the pack of Marvel movies for me. It's beautiful. It's very colorful. Great performances, likable characters. Not as funny as like Thor Ragnarok or Guardians of the Galaxy. So for me, I was like, there was no like belly laugh like there was in Thor, or like crazy get psyched moment like when they played the Immigrant Song or something like that. Like,
were there attempts at humor, or was it serious?
There are some funny parts, and there are some very endearing characters. It's very isolated from the rest of the Marvel universe. There's one character from Civil War that's in this. What's his name? Bilbo Baggins.
Oh yeah.
And he's a pretty big character in it. And Andy Serkis is in it. It's very good, and I kind of equated it with Doctor Strange, where I like Doctor Strange, but I don't love it. But I'm happy that they did it, and I'll watch it every so often. But it got him into the universe. It introduced some cool characters and some cool concepts. So now, when we get to Infinity War, magic is in play. Doctor Strange and Wong and the whole, sanctum are in play and everything. So he was in Ragnarok, and I'm like, cool. So now Black Panther and Wakanda and everything is in there, and so it just sets the stage. I think you're gonna enjoy it, but it's kind of the most Disney of the Marvel movies. It's kind of like kid friendly.
Okay.
It's kind of predictable, but not that Marvel movies aren't. But Michael B. Jordan is a great villain.
I saw in the trailers he looked super jacked.
He is buff, and everybody's great in it, and I enjoy it, and I recommend you see it. And you there's chances are a lot of people are going to like it more than I did. I'm a Marvel zombie, so I like just being a Marvel movie, I I already give it a passing grade just for being a Marvel movie. But if I'm ranking them, I wouldn't put it like in my top 10. I'd put it in the middle of the pack. But very good. But I think there's going to be other people. What I like about this is the uninitiated people who maybe aren't into Marvel movies. This is a great gateway. There's so many different flavors of Marvel movies that, if you want a Winter Soldier's got way more of an edge and higher stakes. This is a little bit more, I don't know, like I said, kid friendly is maybe not the right word, but I felt it was definitely a safer, rounded edges, not sharp edges on this movie.
So it kind of had the Wonder Woman effect then for you, where everyone was saying it's the greatest superhero movie ever, and you see it and you're like, "Oh, it was all right. It was good."
I think Wonder Woman is better than this, but the third act of this is better than Wonder Woman's.
Okay. Oh, okay. You just tempered my expectations a lot, because Wonder Woman to me did not come anywhere near what people were saying.
I thought the first two acts of Wonder Woman are great, and that Gal Gadot is amazing. I think Black Panther is a very good movie. I like the third act better because I thought the third act, they didn't do a lot of the Wonder Woman falls into the cliche, big light in the sky and CG monster fight, animated, whatever. Whereas Black Panther is a lot more of a personal fight, and it's not the whole world isn't at stake. It's and there's kind of a cool battle, and you get some of the characters that you're getting invested in pay off, and some of the best action and some of the funniest parts are in the third act.
Okay.
So again, watching Wonder Woman, I love the first two acts of that movie, and then the third act kind of.
Does Black Panther go to a dance with a sword on his back that nobody magically notices? Because that was a great part of Wonder Woman.
It's actually a disco. And,
okay.
He pulls his sword out and points it to the sky like John Travolta.
Yeah, I might go see that this weekend. It depends. I did see there's a Natalie Portman movie coming out. I can't tell if it's a horror movie or not. What is that?
Oh, I saw the trailer for that, and I have no desire to see that movie.
I don't even remember what it's called, so I don't know.
Annihilation or something like that?
That sounds right. I don't know anything about it, though. So
Natalie Portman is a great actress, but in some things she's great, and in other things, like she's just so wooden. Like in Star Wars, I don't think she's good. In The Professional, she's spectacular. In Black Swan, she's spectacular.
No one was good in Star Wars,
right? Even in the Thor movies, she's pretty wooden.
She didn't have a lot there.
No.
Before we jump into the movie, I did want to say that Pam Morse just sent us a trailer that she put together for Final Guys that is outstanding. So I will throw that up on Twitter or Facebook or whatever with her permission later on. So thank you very much, Sex Cult Leader.
I haven't even seen it yet. I have one more movie, and then we can get to the main feature.
All right.
I did watch a horror movie, and I would recommend everybody watch this movie. It's a 2006 British movie called Severance. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, that rings a bell. What's it
about?
So
it's kind of a horror comedy, and for the sake of the drinking game, I would call it a black comedy. About this group of employees of a company that manufactures weapons, and they're going on a work retreat, and then their bus gets stopped because there's a tree in the road, and they end up in the woods in this. And they're basically being stalked by somebody, and then it turns into somebody's trying to kill them, and people are getting picked off, and it's kind of like they're being hunted type thing. The interesting thing about this movie is the way it swings from comedy to like straight horror and back to comedy. And there's times where it's not really handling it that well, and then other times where it does it brilliantly. But there really are like, there's just some scenes where like, you're like, yeah, they're not, the jokes aren't really landing. Then they do some horror stuff. You're like, oh, wow, maybe they're not going for the horror. And then they just do something totally wacky. And then in the third act, it kind of gets bananas to the point where I enjoyed it a lot. Like I was okay with the movie for half of it. And then it was growing on me. And by the end, I'm like, I'm really glad I watched that. So it's on Shudder. It's definitely worth a look. It's a lot of fun. There's not too many name brand people in it, but if you ever saw Suicide Kings,
Yes.
the blonde girl who's like the
Okay.
main girl, she's like the star of this movie. Uh,
And it was on Shutter. All right, I'll check that out.
on Shutter, Severance. There's a guy who looks like Nick Frost's like brother.
Okay.
I actually, when I saw the trailer, I thought it was a young Nick Frost, and then I started watching. I'm like, oh wait, that's not Nick Frost. So
I was digging into Shutter just last week and realizing I don't get. I thought I'd gone through most of their movies just looking through Amazon, and I haven't even touched the surface. They have tons of stuff. It's just I can't really find it through the Amazon interface very well.
does their website have a directory?
I think so, but I'll have to look. I'm
I can
usually
look
not
at
at my laptop, so
every so often I look and I'll see something. I'm like, oh, that's on Shutter. I didn't realize that. Because yeah, I gotta. I don't think I'm getting the full.
yeah. Like I just saw they have Hellraiser 1 and 2. I had no idea. I'd never seen that on there. So
It's funny you say that because Hellraiser's on my to do list to rewatch soon. So I'm gonna go
perchance
check
that
that
would
out.
be a staff pick.
Perhaps it will. That sounds like a really good one. Okay, so that's my movie. So with that, let us go to our main feature.
Dun dun dun. What? Am I supposed to be talking? All right,
No,
I'm
I
gonna
was
keep
just taking
talking.
a sip of bourbon.
Okay.
Where we get going. The main feature is a movie that I suggested called Tragedy Girls, which I this movie technically came out last year because it was on some people's best of last year list, but I wasn't able to get a hold of it until now.
I feel like it might have been on the festival circuit, not an actual release, but I could
Yeah.
be wrong on that.
I'm counting this as a 2018, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a contender for my top 10 list because
Really?
this is another black comedy, if you will. Do you want to recap it?
Sure. It's basically two death obsessed teenagers who have an online presence, I guess you would call it. They're always trying to get people to follow them on Twitter and their website, and they're chronicling the deaths that are happening in their town, which they are a major part of. And they're basically, as best I can tell, just killing people and causing havoc in order to raise their online presence
Yes.
and raise their stock in school and in the community and online. And to give out more, I'm afraid I'll end up spoiling it, but that's kind of the gist, right?
That is the gist. Basically, like there's a serial killer in town, and so they're sort of riding his coattails and killing in his style.
Yeah. And trying to team up with him.
Yeah. And the whole thing is by then they're sort of covering it with their blog and their social media presence. So this felt like a modern day Heathers in some ways. And I was really waiting for this movie to take a turn and lose it. And instead, I thought this movie just kept getting better as it went along. And halfway through it, the two lead girls are magnificent. And one of I had to look them up on IMDb. One of them played Storm in the latest X-Men movie. And
Really?
unrecognizable because she has like a mohawk
Yeah, I would have never guessed that was her.
No, and she is excellent in this movie. Both of them are so great because they just have that Mean Girls kind of vibe that they just play to perfection. And then Craig Robinson shows up in this movie. I didn't realize
Out of
he was
nowhere. Yeah.
out of nowhere, and he's awesome.
He was huge in this too.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking like a big old dude, and I like that they played it up in the film.
Yeah. So, what'd you think?
I like this movie a lot. So far, I mean, it's early in the year, but I would probably have it in my top 10 list. I have a feeling it'll probably get bumped, but I enjoyed it a lot. I was trying to think of, how much of this clicked with me because I love horror, how much didn't click with me because of the high school thing. When I was in high school, there was no Twitter and Facebook and things like that. So I couldn't really relate on that level to a certain degree. I mean, everybody was worried about stupid shit in high school, but I thought the actresses were so outstanding that even if the material was poor, which it wasn't, but even if it was, they would have carried it. They were just absolutely outstanding. I mean, I can't stress that enough how good they were. And I can't think of the guy's name, the serial killer they tried to team up with. He was in Lost and The Night Was Dark or whatever that movie was called.
That's what, yeah, he's in that. Yeah.
Bunch of
Dark
stuff.
Was the Night.
Yeah, he's a huge guy. And it was great casting because he's a scary looking dude. I thought the movie worked really well in general. I thought it paced well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
The other thing, we're coming off a very strong year of 2017, but January was kind of a wasteland. There not much new came out, and what did come out wasn't great. So this was finally like something you're like, oh yes, a movie I really enjoyed and I could go recommend to people. So I think that was part of it. But a well done horror comedy, and again, it's like it's a horror movie with comedic elements in it. Like it's not a comedy like Scary Movie. It's, I guess, black drink comedy. But when done well, it's like my favorite kind of movie because there's real gore in this and there's real stakes in this movie, but the banter, the dialogue, the relationships, the whole thing just kept me engaged the whole time. And I kept waiting for it to make a turn where I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen. There's always a trajectory of when two people are on a killing spree, something's going to split them up, and they're going to have a disagreement or whatever, and one's going to end up chasing the other one or whatever. Happens in every damn movie where that happens. And they did not fall prey to the usual tropes. They dealt with it pretty well.
I want to throw in here, this is why if you people ever get a chance, anyone listening, and you can jump in the live chat on Tuesdays. First of all, they're talking about crazy stuff in there. But I want to say that Sheridan just totally clicked in my head when he said this. The other woman was in Deadpool. She was the X-Men character with the short hair.
Oh my God, she's unrecognizable.
So there you go. If that was her, then wow. We have the, I guess, the Marvel connection now, the X-Men connection between those two.
Wow, she looks so different.
I would have not guessed that.
She looks name? Like more buff.
Brianna Hildebrand is her name. And that is her from Deadpool. Wow, she's outstanding. So there you go.
Good call on that one. Yeah, they're both 6 degrees of Stan Lee.
I also liked that this movie did not hold back on the gore in particular. There are a couple scenes in this that are whoa. Right from the beginning, there's a scene, and then throughout there's some kills that are just, I don't know, they felt reminiscent of older films, 80s and early 90s films where they did not shy away from the gore. It wasn't torture porny in any way. It was, I don't know. This is why we're all weirdos in the horror community, but it was fun. Like the kills were fun in this.
Well, it wasn't gratuitous violence. It was almost humorous because sometimes they were doing gore while they were having a conversation about something else, or they were like, they kill somebody and they want the press of a murder happening, but the murder, it looks like an accident. And so they're frustrated, like, crap, we have to make this look like a murder. So they're like sawing a body up. And so while they're doing it, it's almost like Pulp Fiction when they're cleaning the brain in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. It's like they're covered with blood and there's brain all over the place, and they're bickering with each other about,
right.
So I think that's because, like, if in the wake of Hostel and Saw and all those movies came a bunch of torture porn movies where there was just like, oh, look, we can tear people apart in 50 different ways.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The 90s had Scream, which completely twisted the genre in a direction I wasn't happy with. And then in the 2000s, Hostel and Saw twisted it even further in a direction I wasn't happy with. And this just felt like a throwback. I really enjoyed it in that regard. And I also enjoyed it that we got to see some badass girls in this movie who weren't just final girls. So they kind of twisted the trope in a way that I found really interesting.
All right. So I think we should jump over to spoilers at this point. So I guess I'm recommending this movie, obviously, and I feel like you are too.
Definitely.
So with that, if you're going to bail on us because you don't want to hear spoilers, I don't blame you. You should go watch this and then come listen to the second part of this conversation. But if you are leaving now, don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and give us a thumbs up or a share if you have it in your heart.
Are we gonna do Black Panther next week? I feel like we're not.
Hunter's not going to see it, so I almost feel like you and I should just do a staff pick with it.
All right, maybe we'll do that next week then. Okay. So follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know what we're doing next week here in a couple days.
Yeah, I don't know what else came out that we could do for next week.
I have no idea. I don't
Watch our Facebook page and our Twitter account, and we'll announce what we're gonna or we'll just surprise you. I don't know, but
find out.
Or if you know of anything new coming out, shoot us a note.
Yeah, really help us out here. And we're doing a staff pick episode this week on 8mm, which you and I talked about a little bit, a couple episodes, but we'll go quite a bit deeper.
And then we'll have to go take a shower and cry.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have some whiskey in hand for that one.
Do the Glenn Close from what the heck is that?
Fatal Attraction.
No. What's the one with the college reunion?
You lost
Kevin
me on
Costner. The Big Chill.
Oh,
the famous Glenn Close crying in a shower scene. I believe in that movie.
It's been a long time, man. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know it was from that movie. Okay.
Here's your deep pull for the night. All right. So spoilers for Tragedy Girls starts 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Okay. First of all, the scene where they kill Craig Robinson is like the best scene in the movie.
My favorite scene by far. I thought they did a great job with that, showing how much stronger he was than them, that they're doing stuff to him and he's like, it's not even bothering him.
And that's where when the girl walks in and she starts to get sexy with him, I'm just like, I would have forgot my name as soon as she was like, hi.
And he's not having it at all.
Yeah.
When she starts trying to drink the water to look sexy and chokes on it, that legitimately made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. That whole scene was so great. And it just, it escalates. And, but again, it never gets too slapstick and it never gets too serious. Like that Severance, like I said, it's a pendulum. It was like really intense and trying to be a horror movie. Then it switched to like flat out comedy, and it finds kind of a middle ground towards the end. This movie struck a perfect balance, I thought. And even like the dreamy guy with the motorcycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the girl clearly has a crush on him. So she's like his weakness. So, but then like they use that strip with the spikes to knock him off his motorcycle. Then they climb down into the side of the road, and she's like kissing him and stabbing him while the other girl's like the guy pulled over and is like, you need any help? And she's like trying not to.
You know, I do want to say that I particularly like that guy's character. He was from the Hunger Games, I think. Wasn't he friend zone in the Hunger Games?
I saw the half of the first Hunger Games movie, and then there was a fire alarm, and I had to leave the theater, and I never saw any of the Hunger Games after that.
Yeah, you don't need to bother that much, but I feel like that was him. And they were trying to get some cross promotion going with him at the beginning, and he's talking about, oh, this would be off brand if I did this and blah, blah, blah. And it just reminded me so much of some authors I talked to. If I'm trying to get them on the podcast or to swap reading books or something, they can just be complete idiots like that. So I really resonated. That scene resonated with me a lot.
Well, not to sound like a crotchety old man, although I am. A lot of millennials I know who are streamers will throw things out like my brand and off brand and things like that. And would just roll my eyes and go, your brand. Okay.
Right. You're pulling in the big bucks with that brand, right?
Yeah.
So like our brand here at Final Guys.
Your brand is going to switch 16 times by the time you're 30, kid.
Is our brand now tainted by Disney World?
First of all, I should never have hooked up with you two because my brand is shot. I should have used a fake name.
You should have used a fake name,
Should
and
have
I
been
could have blurred your face on the
Johnny
screens.
Fantastico or something. Because forget it. Um,
I mean,
uh,
I can get a little vulgar, but that guy always takes it to the next level. It's a good thing I don't have a job. So anyway, back to the movie. You had mentioned spoilers. I did want to mention another kill. So the Craig Robinson one was amazing, and then the other one with the girl in the shop, I thought was
yes,
great.
that I was dancing around that one before. That is one of the perfect examples of they need to make it look like an accident, so they're chopping her up, and they put her head like a.
Oh yeah, it was oscillating in the background on something.
And wait, what happens? Does somebody walk in? So first the two girls show up with the masks on, and they're trying to scare the girl that they end up killing. And then the girl recognizes the girl's sneakers, and that was hilarious as well.
Yeah, that was great. As if you couldn't tell anyway, just by looking at them. Who you were just arguing with them 10 minutes before that.
Yeah.
But then I loved when the janitor walks in as they're cutting up the body, and they're just looking at him, and he empties the garbage, never looks up, and walks out. I thought that was well done.
That's it. That's what I was thinking of. The ending of the movie was really good too.
Very Carrie-esque in a way, but satisfying.
Yeah, well, their conversation, like, they could have really copped out at the end of this movie. Instead, they stayed true to the tone of the movie.
No, I thought so too. I did want to say that I saw the ending with the boyfriend, where that's kind of the sacrificial thing. I saw that coming a mile away. I don't know if that's just because of the way the story went, but at the beginning, the one girl's love has to go down. So I figured at the end, the other girl's love has to go down. And it worked. It didn't surprise me. I guess the fire surprised me more than anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. I'd heard good things about it. The trailer, I was like, I don't know about this movie. But I was looking forward to watching it. And I just, when the end credits hit, I was like, yeah, you know what? I really like that movie a lot.
I'd been wanting to see it for a while. I'd heard good buzz, and yeah, like I said, it works. Great cast. The rest of the cast was really good too, but it was really these two that worked. And I saw Spencer had said the name was Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes,
was her name. So she's I don't know. They're good actresses.
I hope she's back in Deadpool too.
I would hope so, because her character was hilarious. So,
well, she's right, because in the movie she says, "I look good in a pixie cut," and she did look good in a pixie cut. And I got to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the pixie cut. There's only a handful of women that when they go pixie cut, I'm like, "Oh, that was a good move." Usually, I'm like, "What have you done to your hair?"
It's a haircut, so if it works, it works, I guess. I did just look up this director of Tragedy Girls and saw he did Patchwork in 2015, which I did not see. It's a horror comedy. And he also did a couple of shorts and some movies 10, 11, 12 years ago. So
is Patchwork the movie about like the it's like 3 or 4 women who are murdered and their bodies are sewn together and then they're all together in one body or something like that?
That's how the description reads. Yeah. Did you see it?
I saw the trailer and I almost watched it one night and I didn't. So that was on my to-do list. I got to look that up.
I'm not seeing it on Shudder, but it is on Amazon for $5. So, hey, I like this movie, so maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think that summed up most of the stuff I really wanted to mention. It wasn't like there were crazy twists and turns in this movie or anything like that. It was just a satisfying, fun horror comedy kind of thing.
No, they also, the stuff they do with the serial killer is great because they kind of tie him up and hold him hostage. You don't know where that's going to go.
Yeah, I liked at the beginning when they described how hard it was for them to find him, and that she'd given hand jobs to half the boys in the school waiting for him to show up.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so I thought that was really good.
Oh, Spencer saying Patchwork is on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Oh, it sounds like it may be on the old watch list next week.
Scoops Dunning again.
Scoops.
And they're also saying in the chat.
For the record, I said Scoop when I gave him the name.
Oh.
So the plural or so let's just clarify now. I said Scoop, and then it has appeared as Scoops and Scoop. It is Scoop, as if watch the Brady Bunch. Scoop Brady is what I was playing off of.
I'm really glad you cleared that up. I know everyone was concerned about the morphing.
Spence changed it from Scoops to Scoop, so he got it.
Okay. Scoop Dunnings.
If you prefer Scoops, though, that's fine with me.
And Sheridan is saying that Brianna Hildebrand is reprising the role in Deadpool 2. So there you go.
Excellent. Well, what's the other girl's name?
Hang on. I can look on IMDb.
She's one of my new movie crushes. She's awesome.
She was... Wow, this is taking forever. Alexandra Shipp.
Anything else she's been in?
Straight Outta Compton, X-Men Apocalypse. She'll be in X-Men Dark Phoenix. So, a couple other roles here and there.
I have not seen Straight Outta Compton.
It's outstanding. Outstanding movie. All right, I'm all done.
Me too. I'm all spent.
Well, get your energy up because we got to do 8mm.
Talk about snuff films. So, all right, folks. So that's gonna put a bow on this one. Go see Tragedy Girls if you haven't watched it yet. And Hunter, we'll hopefully see you next week, pal. And everybody else, thanks to the finalist cultists in the chat room, and I hope you're all bombed because I said black about 1,000 times. And
looks like they were up to 22 drinks.
Excellent. I had one glass of bourbon, so
I have had 0. I'm hoping to have one for the next episode.
Definitely. All right, well, let's go reload. We'll see everybody next week, and thanks for watching, and show us some love on social media, not the pander.
All right. See you guys.
See you.